Alright, hi everyone. Here is the video tutorial on how you will complete the editing portion of this audio to video assignment that's due. So first you should open up that Video Production Lab folder that you've used for the last couple of assignments. You've got an assignment 1 and an assignment 2 folder. We're going to make an assignment 3 folder. I'll just right click and go to new folder and make a new folder. Inside of that folder you will, as usual, make a 5-folder setup. You should have 5 folders, one for audio, one for exports, one for graphics, one for media, and one for projects. Good to go. Now let's get to the footage. If you used your own camera to film your footage, all you need to do is plug your SD card into your computer and add your footage into this folder, your media folder. That's where you'll add that footage. If you used one of our cameras, I've gone ahead and uploaded your footage here to our Blackboard page. Go to our Blackboard page, go here to Shared Files, go to Documents, Spring 21, and then Assignment 3 Audio. I made this folder, and then your footage will be in this Student Footage folder right here. So we'll start with that. Find the folder for you. I'll just grab Josh's folder here. And download your files. You can download them one at a time is how I prefer to do it. This first one here that says MP4, that's your video file, so we'll start with that. I'll just click these dots right next to it. I'll hit download. And I'm going to find that folder on my computer that I just made with all that footage on it. Again, if your window, when you're getting ready to download, looks like this, make sure to click this arrow drop down so you can see all of your folders. I'm going to go ahead and find that folder, so that assignment 3 folder, and add it to my media folder here. Hit save and you're good to go there. Now once you've got your video saved, you'll also need your audio, and this will be true for everyone. So some people are using their own cameras, but everyone is using the audio recorders that we're providing through the department, and so you're going to find your audio footage here in one of these folders once you've recorded it. Again, I'll just go to Josh's folder here and I'll find this one here. It ends in .wav. That's an audio file, a WAV file. I'm going to download that file, but instead of downloading it to my media folder, I'm going to download it into my audio folder here in my 5-folder setup. So again, make sure it's going in Video Production Lab, Assignment 3, and this one goes to audio. Hit save on that, and you're good to go. A couple other things you want to grab from this folder that's on our Blackboard page. Go here to Assignment 3 Audio to go back a couple steps. I've gotten some new sample music here for you to download. If you click on this folder, you can download any of these songs. You can download all 3 of them if you want to. Again, just make sure you do it one at a time. So I'll go ahead and download a couple of these. Last thing, we're going to get a graphic. We're going to add a graphic to our video. Just open up this folder. There's only one thing in here. It's a Viking graphic. To download this, just click download. And this is going to go in your graphics folder. Graphics folder, that's where that Viking will go. Okay, so you're ready to open a Premiere when you've got your audio folder, has some songs in it, and also your audio that you recorded when you did your recording portion. Your exports folder will be empty. Your graphics folder will just have that little Viking in there. And by the way, if you ever want to preview something in these folders, the best way to do it is just to click on it and then hit the space bar on your computer. That'll allow you to preview anything you've got in here. That's a much easier way to do it. You should have 1 or 2 video files in your media folder, and then this projects folder should be empty because we haven't made a Premiere project yet. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll open up Premiere. So you open up Premiere, make a new project. You'll call this project Assignment 3, and then let's add your name to it so it's easier for me. So I'll say Assignment 3 Casey, and then make sure again to hit Browse right here so it doesn't just save to some random place on your computer. Hit Browse and make sure you are saving it into that folder that you just made, that Projects folder in your Assignment 3 folder. So it needs to be there in Projects. Hit Choose. You can ignore the rest of these settings here, just hit OK. Okay, so we've got our Premiere project open, we've got it saved. Make sure that this panel is visible, this project panel. If you don't see that, go to Window, go down here to Projects. You want to make sure you can see that. Again, all of these panels have lots of tabs that you can see. You can kind of customize these. You can move tabs around as you want. All these tabs do different things in Premiere. But sometimes if you've got a lot of tabs open, or if you've got one of these panels kind of squeezed over somewhat, you won't be able to see all of the tabs fully. Like I can't see all these tabs fully. If you're in that situation where you can't see your project panel, just click on these little arrows right here, and then you can find the tab that you're looking for. Or just expand this window so you can see that. That's going to be true with any of these panels here. There are tabs inside of them, and you could have a bunch of tabs open if you wanted to. Right now, we're just looking at this one. Okay, so I'm going to import my media. I'm going to go to my Finder window down here, get my folders, and I'm just going to take my media folder. I'm going to hold down the Command key on my keyboard to highlight my media folder, my graphics folder, and my audio folder, and just drag, drop, and click to import them into my project. And there they are. Again, I'm using this list view. I prefer that to this icon view because this can be a little bit confusing. Let's keep list view. That way I can click this arrow to drop down and see what's in there. I can see my audio, I can see my media, I can see my graphics. Good to go. Now let's make one more folder that's going to be in this project panel. It's going to be a sequences folder. Go down here to this little folder icon. It says new bin, or you can just right click and find new bin, and I'll make a folder here called sequences. And all these folders will live on their own, so it's not going to be inside of another folder. Now I'm going to open up my media folder here, get my media clip, and I'm going to double click on the little icon right here to open it up here in the source panel. I'm going to pre-cut this footage so I just have what I need, and then I'm going to drag it down into my timeline to make a sequence. So I can move this playhead around until I find the places where Ashley says the things that I need to hear, and I'll just play here. So here's what I want to do. I want to pre-cut this footage. I don't want to hear Josh or myself asking the questions. I only want to hear the person talking to me answering those questions. So I'm going to find that point where Ashley starts to answer the first question. So right about here where Ashley says, "My name is." And then I'm going to hit this in bracket right here to mark in. Or I can just hit the letter I on my keyboard to mark that in. Then I'm going to move my playhead over a bit until we get to the end of what Ashley's going to say here. And I can just end it right there. That's the end of the question. Then I will hit this mark out point right here, or just the O key on my keyboard. So I'm just pre-cutting this footage. I'm just telling Premiere I only want this chunk of the footage. I don't need all this stuff over here. And then I'm going to just click and drag this into my timeline. And when I do that, Premiere is going to make a sequence. It's going to make a sequence. It's going to name that sequence the same name as the video file I was working with here. It's going to have the same settings, so it's going to be full HD or whatever my settings were that I used. And because it's the same name, that can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to find the sequence. It's over here on the left. It's got the little green label on it. And I'm going to rename this sequence. Just right click, find rename. And I'm going to call this sequence assignment 3, my name. Then I will drop this sequence into my sequences folder because it keeps me organized. And there it is. Again, a sequence is the thing that you're editing in Premiere. I've got a sequence here. It's called assignment 3 Casey. If I were to click this X button and lose the sequence, I could always get it back by just finding it here, double clicking, and there it is. Now, as you might notice, when you listen to this, the audio quality is not awesome, right? Because this is the audio that came from the camera, which wasn't very close to Ashley's face and isn't also a very high quality microphone. But that's okay, because I was also recording really nice quality audio. That's this Zoom wave track right here. I'm just going to take this whole thing, click and drag it into the track underneath my video tracks here. And then just so I can get a better view of it, I'm going to move my mouse in between the border of these two audio tracks and just pull that down a little bit so I can see those waveforms a little bit more clearly. Okay, now if I listen to this, I'll hear both the audio sources.
My name is Ashley Weaver, and I am a multimedia communicator.
But the problem is that they're not synced. right? So this audio is happening at a different time as this audio here. It'd obviously be a little bit easier to tell if we weren't wearing masks, but you can still tell that these audio sources are not synced. So let's go ahead and synchronize them. I can highlight everything just by clicking and dragging over everything, and then right-clicking on any of these tracks and finding Synchronize right here. Premiere is really smart. It's going to automatically synchronize these two audio tracks together. I'm going to synchronize by audio. This is the option I want here. You can keep this at track channel 1 or whatever it's set at and just hit OK. And now it has synchronized these audio clips. If I move my playhead over and hit play,
not that much, especially with COVID quarantine.
And now these two audio tracks are synchronized. Next thing I'm going to do is they're synchronized, but they're not the same length as each other. So just for the sake of neatness, I'm going to go ahead and take the left edge of this audio track and just drag it over so it lines up with the left edge of this video track. Same thing over here. I'm going to just move this over so it lines up so they're the exact same length. Then I'm going to do something else. So right now, if I click on this video or this audio track, if I click on any of this blue stuff, it highlights both the video track, which is this up here, and it also highlights the audio track. These two things are married together. I'm going to unlink them so that I can get rid of this blue audio track that isn't very good quality. So I'll right-click, and I'll choose Unlink. Now they're independent. They're independent of each other. And now I can just hit the Delete key to delete that scratch audio because I don't need it anymore. But now that these two are synchronized, I do want to link these together. So I'm going to highlight both of them, right-click, and choose Link, and now they're linked together. So as I move one, the other moves with it. Okay, you might have some space over here to the left of your video clip. Now, what you could do is just drag it over here, and that's fine. I want to show you another trick for this. I'm going to just click in this space, the space to the left of my video or my audio track here. I'm going to right-click, and I get one option. It says Ripple Delete. What Ripple Delete will do is it's just going to delete the empty space and move my footage into that space, like that. This will be really useful for us for what we're about to do here in a minute. All right, so I've got my footage here. I've got it synchronized. Now I'm going to make some cuts here so that I'm not hearing Josh's questions, but I'm only hearing Ashley's answers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I can zoom in by clicking on either of the little balls on either end of this bar here, and I can zoom in. You can also zoom in by just holding down the Option key in your keyboard and scrolling. I'm going to zoom in, and as I see with these waveforms, I can actually see Ashley talking. That's what these waveforms are here. And I'm going to cut out the places where Ashley isn't talking. So maybe I'll have a little bit of space here, and I'm just going to hit play.
My name is Ashley Weaver, and I am a multimedia communications major here at Grandview University.
Okay, now when Ashley is done talking, right about here, I'm going to go ahead and make a cut right here. I'm going to use my razor tool, which is over here in this middle panel, this little cut tool. I'm just going to cut this. I don't know what Ashley says here. Let's listen. Don't really need that. And I'm just going to skip right ahead to Ashley's next answer. So Ashley starts talking right about here. I can tell that Ashley's going to start talking because I can see the waveforms. I'm going to click Cut right here. Then I'm going to go back to my selection tool. That's over here in the middle. And I can just delete that part there where Ashley wasn't speaking that I don't need. Now I can do something kind of cool. If I click in this empty space in between Ashley's two answers, this empty space, so it's highlighted, right-click and choose Ripple Delete, it's going to bring those two together instead of me having to drag them together. So now I'm moving from the first answer to the second answer.
Not that much, especially with COVID.
Ashley finishes that answer. I'm going to go ahead and make a cut right there, and then find the third answer, make a cut. I don't even have to delete this. I can just go to my selection tool. I can select this clip here, and I can still choose Ripple Delete. It'll just delete that part that I had selected and move the next part over closer.
Honestly, it's where we are right now.
I'll keep playing through this until Ashley's done with this answer, and maybe I'll leave this space here so that I can fade that out later on. Okay, now I'm going to hit the backslash key on my keyboard. This is just so I can zoom out all the way. I can see all my footage. That backslash key is on the far right, upper right of your keyboard. It's right above the enter key, right below the delete key. That just allows me to see the full view of everything here, everything that I have, all my clips that I have here. And so I've got Ashley's 3 answers. Okay, now this next part will be more or less affected depending on the kind of footage that you got last week. And it's okay if it doesn't perfectly match what you got last week. What I'd like us to do though is kind of put together a very rough heads-up package from using some of the B-roll that we had last week. Because what we filmed this week of a person talking, we would call that A-roll. And what you filmed last week is B-roll. So I'm going to find my footage from last week. Find some of my footage from last week. And I'm actually going to add this footage. So this is from my assignment 2 folder. It's in my media folder here. And I'm actually going to add this footage to my project that I'm working on right now. So I'm going to find my media folder and I'm just going to add all of it. So I'll click on one item here, hold the shift key and click on the last item. That will select all of them. And I'm going to click and drag these into my media folder in my Premiere project. Now I've got a bunch of other clips here. So I don't just have this clip of Ashley speaking. I've also got all these other clips from all these different types of shots that I filmed last week. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just overlay these on top of this track of Ashley speaking. So I'm going to find a clip here. So I've got this clip here of Dallas texting, and I'm going to take just a chunk of it. It's up to you. It's kind of up to your discretion. I'm going to go ahead and pre-cut this footage. So I'm going to use in and out, maybe a couple seconds of it, in and out. I don't need all of it. And then I'm going to drag this into my timeline. But instead of clicking and dragging on the image itself like this to drag it over, I'm going to click on this little video icon right here to drag just the video, because I don't need the audio from this. I just need the video. Drag this over into the track above Ashley speaking. Now here's what this will look like. If I hit play on this, I'll hear Ashley talking, and then I can hear some B-roll or see some B-roll on top of that. It's a good idea to move B-roll into places where it's in between those breaks, so it's kind of covering up these breaks here. I would like to cover up this break here between Ashley's first answer and Ashley's second answer, because it's a little awkward. If I play this right here, that jump cut right there is a little awkward. So I'm going to go ahead and move some B-roll on top of that. It's just going to kind of mask that awkward transition there.
Not that much, especially with COVID quarantine.
So what I'd like you to do is just pick a few clips from last week. I've got a couple more here. Maybe I'll take this pan, a couple seconds of this pan. And I will just take the video only and just place it over that transition between two clips here. Just again, so it's kind of masking this border right here.
I do spend a little bit of time. Honestly, it's where we are right now.
Okay, the only B-roll you need to add is just at least one B-roll clip on top of each of these transitions here to kind of mask that transition from one answer to the other answer. But you can add other B-roll if you want. You can experiment with this, have fun with this. You can trim these clips as much as you want. So we're kind of going back and forth between seeing Ashley speaking and seeing some B-roll. So A-roll, B-roll, A-roll. Maybe I'll add a little bit more B-roll in here just to help this go a little more smoothly. Just giving our viewers some variety here as they're looking from answer to answer. Okay, a couple more things and we're almost done. I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to add a graphic. So I've got this little Viking graphic here that you downloaded right here. Looks like this. And I'm going to just have this be at the lower right of my screen over here. So I'm going to take my Viking graphic, click and drag it, and it's going to be in the top track of my timeline, very top. If I move my playhead over to where that graphic is, I'll see it. It's right in the middle of the screen. Let's go ahead and expand the border of this graphic so it's as long as the entire video. But we don't want this graphic to be like right in the middle of our video, right? That's awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this graphic. Just make sure you click on it so it's highlighted. And then I'll go to Effect Controls up here at the top left. If you don't see this Effect Controls panel, go to Window, choose Effect Controls. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and downscale this Viking graphic a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. So I click on Scale right here, and I can downscale that slightly, maybe to about 50% or so. And I'm also going to change the position of this graphic, and I'm just going to use these numbers here to do it. So I'll click and drag this way to move it along the x-axis, and I'll click and drag this one to move it down along the y-axis. So this is just moving it by numbers. Last thing, I want this to be a little bit see-through, so I'm going to go to opacity here. If this stopwatch thing is checked, just go ahead and uncheck that so it's gray. Then I will change the opacity to 50%. That way it's somewhat see-through. Just added a nice see-through graphic there on the bottom right in the shape of a Viking. I play this, that's going to be over the entire video. That's just how I want it. Last, we're going to add some music here. So I'm going to go ahead and take some audio. You can take any of these audio tracks you wish. I'll go ahead and take this one and drag it into one of these audio tracks, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to expand it a little bit here so I can see it. And I will go ahead and cut it so it's the same length as my full video here. Now if I hit play, probably going to notice that that music is going to be quite a bit louder than the audio of the person talking. Let's take a look. So let's go ahead and turn that down. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my, my music track here, go to Effect Controls, go to Volume, and then if you see a level option right here, this is the one we want. I'm going to click the stopwatch so that it's gray. I want this to be gray. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this level down. 0 decibels is the default, but I think probably something like -30 would probably work. I want this to be quite a bit quieter than the dialogue of the person speaking. Let's listen. So like really just so that it's audible, but not so much that I could really like make out the tune or something like that. It's just kind of filling in the space. And I'd maybe have it be even a little bit quieter. Really important for this part to have your headphones plugged in. So you should be using your headphones on your computer as you're doing this. That's going to help you be more effective with this than using the speakers. Okay, a couple more things. We're going to add a crossfade effect to this audio track. I'll go to my effects panel. If you don't see that, go to Window and make sure Effects is checked. And I'm just going to look for the crossfade effect. I'm just going to choose this constant power one. I'll crossfade either side of this music track. And also I want this video to fade out at the end here. So also in Effects, I'm going to choose an effect called Dip to Black. It's right here. And I'm going to move this dip to black to the edge of my video clip of Ashley speaking. That's going to have that dip to black at the end. Okay, once you've done that, your sequence should look something like this. We should see at this top track here should be the Viking graphic. It should be on the top so that it always shows up. The second track should have some B-roll here. At least place the B-roll in between so it's covering up these borders between these two clips, right? So at least have your B-roll covering up those transitions, but you can add more B-roll as you wish. Last week you shot a lot of B-roll and it'll fit perfectly here. Again, depending on like the locations where you filmed last week, it's okay if it doesn't completely match the story that your person is telling. This is a technical exercise and that's okay. Then my track down here, the bottom track should be the person speaking. I should have a nice dip to black at the end of that. I should have my nice synchronized audio here, and I should have gotten rid of the crappy audio from before. There used to be some crappy audio in this track and I got rid of it. I only have my good quality audio. And then I have a music track down here to kind of finish everything off. When your sequence looks something like this, I will go ahead and select all of it. I can click and drag over this to select it all, or you can just go to Edit and select all. Then I'll go to File, Export, Media. and we'll go through the exporting process. The same as we've done before. Again, if by default yours says match sequence settings, go ahead and uncheck that. The format we want is H.264. The preset, it's fine if it says match source high bitrate, that's just fine. The name, make sure you click on this blue text right here. This is so that I can make sure I'm saving it into the right place. And again, click on this little arrow drop down so you can see all your folders. This should go in your assignment 3 folder in your exports folder. And you can just make sure the video is called assignment 3 Casey or your name. Hit save. We can ignore these settings down here. These are all just different export settings. We'll just hit the Q button right here and that'll open up our exporting program, Media Encoder. It could take a couple minutes for Media Encoder to come up. It might take 60 to 90 seconds. But once it pops up, I'll see this item right here ready to go. And I can just go ahead and hit my play button to export that video. When that's done exporting, I can go ahead and close Media Encoder. Go ahead and close your Premiere project, but before you do, make sure you save it. So go to File, Save, and then you can close Premiere. Now I've got my Assignment 3 folder, and all of my folders have stuff in them. I've got my audio folder, my exports folder has my export. This is the video. I've got my graphics folder here, my media folder with my video, and my projects folder with my project. Okay, now there are 2 things you need to submit this assignment. Go to our Blackboard page and you can find this assignment in week 4. And what you'll submit here under this link is going to be your export. Submit your export here so I can see the exported file. Then, once you've done that, go to your My View, go to your OneDrive, find the folder that you've made for this class in your OneDrive, and go ahead and take your Assignment 3 folder, the entire Assignment 3 folder, and just drag and drop it into your personal OneDrive. To see your files as they're going up, you can click on this right here where it says uploading 23 items or whatever. That way you can actually see them uploading. You can see that whole process. And make sure you don't click away from this window or close this tab or anything like that until this is all the way done uploading. You'll see an Assignment 3 icon right here. You'll see a folder icon, but you see that all this stuff still needs to upload in there. And it's going to take a couple minutes. So give it some time to do that before you navigate away from it. Okay, when that's done, last step is to click this little share icon and make sure you're sharing the entire folder, not just a thing that's in the folder, but the entire folder, this entire Assignment 3 folder. Hit share, just punch in my name, and send that to me. And then you're done.